As we all know, the UFC White House card is not your average event. Of course, it's being held at the White House, octagon on the South Lawn, fighters walking out from the Oval Office, weigh-ins at the Lincoln Memorial, and across the street, 85,000 people watching from screens. But they're doing all this crazy production for a fight card that's going to be about half the time of a regular event. According to Ari Emanuel, the TKO CEO, he said there should be approximately 6 to 7 fights on the White House card, and it's being worked on currently. So with this information, I would like to not only predict the 6 or 7 fights, but all the possible options we could get on this White House card. We're going through title fights, major non-title fights, and then some other bouts that I could see. First up, starting with the title fights, I think a no-brainer, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. I've been saying this forever. Everyone's saying this. Gaethje's saying it. Ilia's kind of been saying it. Basically, everyone in the media. Ilia Topuria, one of the biggest stars in the sport, does line up with his comeback. Obviously, he'll be about a year away from the octagon. Not really his fault. He had his whole thing with his ex-wife, the divorce, and all the bullshit she was putting him through. And Gaethje, the only American male champ, really, interim champ, one of the biggest American stars the sport has ever had. And he could be headlining this card fighting for a belt while also holding the interim belt. Makes sense. This is going to be there, but he gets knocked out in like one round, sadly. Unless he comes in with a smarter approach. But if he goes in like looking like against Patty, which I don't think he will, he's getting knocked out of 1 at max 2. Next up, I know Alex Pereira said the White House is a no-go, but Alex Pereira is down for every single event. Like, he does anything for the UFC. He always says yes. I think we could see him on this card, possibly. If they need like a backup. I don't think they're going to put Ilia and Alex on the same card. It could happen, but I think it'll be very dumb from the UFC. Especially if you're only having 6 or 7 fights. Like, I think you could do other non-title fight bouts that are better than that and save Alex Pereira as a headliner for like something in April or May. But again, against Carlos Ulberg at light heavyweight, maybe even a Yuri if they want some more star power. But Alex Pereira already brings in the star power. Or at heavyweight for the interim belt. That's why maybe they do, or they strip Tom, make it vacant, put it the headliner, something like that. Maybe if it's interim, they do it, pair it with Ilia. It's a lot to it for at heavyweight. At light heavyweight, it would be just undisputed, but maybe vacant at heavyweight or interim. I don't think they'll strip Tom, but I'd rather see this in like April or May. Instead of Alex Pereira sitting out 8 months, have him sit out 6 or 7. And if he comes back April or May, and Sirigan, same thing, not sit out that long because he fought in October as well. And have Ulberg fight Yuri for the vacant April or May as well. Now for another sneaky title fight, because I don't think they're going to do flyweight. Van is not going to fight on this card. Jan's out till July. Featherweight's Ilia. Featherweight's Volk, sorry. Lightweight's Ilia. I don't think Volk's going to fight on this card. Welterweight, Islam. Supposedly there should be no Russians. Hamza is not fighting on this card, screaming, Allahu Akbar, I kill everybody. He's not fighting on the White House card. That's going to shut down the event if he gets on there. Light heavyweight would be Alex, and heavyweight would also be Alex. So one of the two. So I think it's only featherweight and light heavyweight or heavyweight are going to be having undisputed title fights. But I could see a BMF fight from Max Holloway and Benoit Saint Denis. Because BSD, he's not going to fight for the undisputed. That's Ilia Gaethje. His only options are really the winner or loser of the BMF or Arman. Maybe Arman gets a different fight. He could. I don't think he will, but say Arman doesn't fight between now and the White House and Benoit Saint Denis is around waiting. Max Holloway's shown interest and not only shown interest on fighting on the White House card, but shown interest on turning around quickly after he beats Charles Oliveira, which I think he will. And if he does it by knockout early on in the first 2-3 rounds, doesn't take a lot of damage, he could definitely probably make a quick turnaround, fight on this card maybe as a co-main event. I'd rather be co-main, not featured, if they don't put the other 2 title fights on stack them. I think one or the other of Ilia or Alex. And then put maybe this as a co-main. But I'm not very confident. I'm confident on Ilia, not very confident on Alex. Not confident on this at all. But it's a sneaky little BSD BMF shot in the pocket, you know? Because now we move on to our major non-title fights. Just kind of gets into that. I think Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Possibly a Nate Diaz. But I don't know if they'll bring Nate Diaz back. I know they went out on bad terms. I know Dana said this is in the past, but they love Michael Chandler with all their heart. He didn't completely shut it down. I think he could still get this fight, especially if Conor's really locked in. Like David Feldman, the BKFC president, was saying, Conor's locked in. He's like, he looks better than he was in his prime. He's training his ass off, eating right. He's going to church. If we get Conor McGregor voted and he actually comes back, he's actually locked in. I could see him doing Michael Chandler, but as a co-main event. I think main event again, Ilya or Alex headliner. I would love to see Ilya headline, Conor co-main. That'd be kind of cool. The little parallel between them or the dynamic between them, the tattoos, the fight style, the storyline. The things Ilya's done that kind of copy McGregor. I think McGregor, the Arturo, and now maybe I don't even know if Conor's ego would allow him to be a co-main event to Ilya actually. So maybe I don't know. We'll see. But it could be even a crazy fight night and have Conor McGregor as a headliner, or Conor headline, Max Holloway, BMF, BSD, co-main, something like that. Because you could always mix it up. You don't have to have a BMF as a headliner. It's a gimmick belt. Or they do Max Holloway Armin. Or not BSD Armin, Max Holloway Armin, not for the BMF belt on the line. That could be something as well. Another one, I think Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. This has to be on the card. I would say main card opener, but it's gonna be as short as I think it's gonna be one just bulk card. But I could see Sean O'Malley sitting out for a title shot. It would take a year though, probably for him to get a title shot, maybe 10 to 12 months before he gets a title shot because Petr Yan's coming back in July. If Petr Yan, who I think he beats Merab, Sean O'Malley would probably have to wait till December, January for Petr Yan to turn around again, unless Petr Yan makes a quick one. And Sean O'Malley has sat out a while. He sat out, I think, 9 months after Merab beat him. I don't think he's sat out that long, so I think he's going to get another fight in between. And I think the options are either Corey Sandhagen or Umar. And I think he's going to take the Corey Sandhagen fight over Umar, especially if it's on the White House. It's kind of, everyone wants to see this. And it's better for him and the UFC to take this fight because it's more winnable than an Umar fight. Umar's a much more difficult opponent. But say he does sit out or he does get the Umar fight, he does take that fight, and it's not on the White House card. Peyton Talbot versus Corey Sandhagen. I could see this one happening. Conor I have decent confidence in. Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, I have pretty good confidence. This one is I could see it happening because they obviously want Peyton Talbot up there. I believe he should be up there. He has the talent. He just dominated Henry Cejudo when even Song Yadong couldn't do him like that only 9 months prior. And this would be a very fun matchup. Push Peyton Talbot's star power more. Corey Sandhagen's a decent name. Not like a star, but he's just a decent household name in the bantamweight division. He's American. Peyton Talbot is American as well. And he's a star. I think this is winnable for him. He could win this fight. You could push him more and introduce him to a larger crowd, even though he goes kind of against America, like the whole Trump administration and all that. The whole conservative and right-wing fan base, you could say, majority of the fan base that the UFC has, but still, he's still a big star and he has a lot of potential, and I think they could push him up here. He deserves to be up here, because I don't think you're going to give him a Chito Vera, Ayman Zahabi, he beats the shit out of those guys, bro. Give him a big test. A striker, Corey Sandhagen, a Sean O'Malley, a Song Yadong. Maybe Song Yadong would implement the wrestling. These guys might implement the wrestling, Corey Sandhagen, but not like a Umar or something, or like a Merab. So I think it would be very fun, this matchup, and it could happen if Sean O'Malley does not end up fighting Corey Sandhagen. Next up, I think Dan Hooker can fight one of these three guys, Paddy Pimblett, Renato Moicano, or Michael Chandler. If Michael Chandler does not get the Conor fight, maybe they do Nate or some random opponent, like Rufy was saying his name was in the mix, because Conor of old versus Conor of new, that same fight style, they have that comparison. Paddy Pimblett, obviously, they have the beef. They both coming off losses. They're both, Dan Hooker's very fun. Paddy Pimblett's a star. I could see this on there. That would be a banger. That would be a very fun fight. They have the beef. They have the storyline. Or you could have Moicano. Again, not American, but he has a bit of a star power. He's going to be funny. He's going to have the funny moments. He's very, he's a very easy fighter, to market to people and having those funny press conference moments where he's not crossing the line like a Sean Strickland would do and call everyone whatever slur or something, or whatever Sean Strickland likes to say. But he's more going to say some funny shit like, Moicano wants money, blah, blah, blah. Came here for money, what the fuck? It's funny shit like that, and it would be a fun fight with Dan Hooker. These are all winnable fights for Dan Hooker and the guy on the opposite end. And then Michael Chandler, rematch. Chandler knocked him out, of course, in his debut in 2021, but Chandler's regressed. Dan Hooker's kind of there still. So yeah, I think any one of these guys, Chandler doesn't get Chandler's going to be on this card 100%. Dan Hooker even called him out, so I think we could get any one of these three matchups for Dan Hooker. We could even get Paddy Pimblett Moicano. I think that's another one as well. Now, Colby Covington versus Bo Nickel. Colby moves up to 185 and fights Bo Nickel. Two American wrestlers. Dana loves these guys. Trump loves these guys. It's not very flex, but, you know, it's going to be at the White House on Trump's birthday, which is a Sunday. So I don't know how he's still president with the whole Epstein file shit, but whatever, it is what it is. I think this could be I'm pretty confident in this fight happening, or at least both these guys being on there. I think they could fight each other. They've been talking shit, if I'm not mistaken. They've been talking shit. They're both American wrestlers. It's gonna be a fun fight that's on up there, like the fourth to last fight or something like that. And it could give good moments in the press conference talking shit, like Colby Covington. If you didn't see it, Daily Taporia sent him to moon. We could get Colby Covington another dumbass line where he's fucking up. We had seventh layer of hair. We had just now, like I just said, he's talking about Ilya's gonna send Gaethje. Yeah, Ilya's gonna send Gaethje to moon, not to the moon, to moon. I don't know who's moon. Who the fuck is moon? And then Bo Nickel, frick you, Colby Covington. You're a fricker. You're a fake fricker. Like this dork ass. But yeah, I think this could happen definitely. Next up, Khalil Rountree's comeback versus the winner of Reyes Walker. If they want to make a quick turnaround, if they get the one or the other out of there quick, don't take a lot of damage, don't get wobbled themselves. Khalil Rountree could get redemption versus Johnny Walker, or he could have American versus American and Dominic Reyes. Fun fight. Okay, again, Trump. I'm sure Dominic Reyes will want to fight on this card. He likes Trump. He loves Trump. In Miami last year. So I think this can happen because they're fighting in Miami again, actually. Wow. But I think it's going to be like a first round knockout, either one. So maybe if one of them doesn't get hurt or injured and they want to make a quick turnaround versus Khalil, which is a dangerous matchup for both of them. Johnny Walker obviously knocked him out with the elbow years back. I think this could happen. I don't know if Khalil Rountree's ever said anything about fighting on the White House card, or I don't know when he's coming back. I haven't heard anything from him. I've seen him on the Jackson podcast a little bit, but that's it. So. And also, Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley is a possible one. I don't have high confidence on this one. Very low. But Sean Brady, it would be about 7 months removed from his knockout, getting knocked out in the first round. It's like a regular timetable to improve on things. And Joaquin Buckley looks like he cannot get a fight. He's just fucking rambling on every social media platform. Shavkat, Ian Gary, Bilal, Kamaru Usman, Islam, Michael Morales, Carlos Prater. Like, it's fuck, dude. I love Joaquin Buckley, but he's annoying as fuck. Like, I know why Israel Adesanya was like, fuck this dude. I can't stand him whenever he opens his mouth. I love Buckley, but he's not for everyone. I get it, though. He's a passionate dude. Wants to sell fights, sell himself. So, yeah, I think this could happen. It makes sense ranking-wise. Brady fighting down, Buckley fighting up. I think they still want to push Buckley a little bit. I think Buckley fighting down into like the 11-15 range doesn't make sense. Those guys are like all shitty. It's like Burns. Jeff Neal's not shitty. D-Rod. I think D-Rod get no. Shavkat got removed, but MVP moved up there. That could be a fun fight for Buckley. But MVP's fighting Sam Patterson of all people, which is weird. I thought they would do Buckley MVP, but this could happen. But Buckley would be literally a year. I think the June 14th was the Atlanta card. A year removed from fighting, which I think is stupid. Hopefully Buckley fights in like April. Make it 10 months instead of 12. Now onto some other bouts I could see. Kevin Holland going up against some prospect at 170 or 180. I think the two most marketable prospects at 170 and 185, or not, I said 180, 185 are, because Kevin Holland, he's going to be fun. He's American. He's going to do his antics. He's a big name for an unranked guy, and he'll fight anybody. Islam Dulatov, obviously, he's a model. He's fun fight style. He mogs. So I could see him if Kevin Holland's fighting at 170, or if he wants to go up to 185 again, fight Baysengur Susurkayev, who the UFC loves. Obviously, Hamzat's training partner. I could see Kevin Holland fighting him. That would be actually a fun fight because they're both be just bullshitting the whole time. You know, Susurkayev just like I don't know. Every time he's octagon, he's just like just doing bullshit against cans. I don't want to call Eric Hanako or Eric Nolan cans, but fighters who aren't like crazy. He's like emoting on them and doing all this bullshit. But I could see Kevin Holland fighting both of these guys, or not both, obviously, but one or the other. Next, Derek Lewis versus Walter Volker. I think it's a banger. it kind of lines up with Walter Walker's recovery because I know he broke his shin in October. And Derek Lewis, he doesn't fight that often. He fought in January, got TKO'd. He just slipped and kind of wanted to take a nap and rest, and you can't do that in the middle of a fight. Sorry. So I think it's 5 months turnaround. I think he'll fight on the White House card. You know, he likes Trump. Trump likes him. You know, Trump's a little racist. And then Walter Walker's an emerging star in the heavyweight division. We need those. And yeah, I think it's a guaranteed finish. Either Derek Lewis gets a knockout or Walter Walker gets a fucking heel hook in the first round. Either one. And Derek Lewis, you push the American star more, or you push this international star. Walter Walker, who's gonna have some funny shit throughout the week. Push him, and he gets a good finish over a vet. Next up, in the heavyweight division, speaking of prospects, Josh Hockett versus Steve Asplin, maybe an opener to the card. Two prospects. Steve Asplin has to get, I think Josh Hockett could probably sit out till then. Only 4 or 5 months. Steve Asplin, though, it'd be a 3-month turnaround because he's fighting Vitor Petrino. And keep in mind, I think Steve Asplin lost to Denzel Freeman. And we saw what Denzel Freeman just put up against Josh Hockett. Fuck, bro, this guy's disgusting to look at. Sorry, I know he said it himself, but damn. Steve Asplin, he has a tough test in Vitor Petrino in March. He could get knocked out, he could get out-grabbed, he could lose some of his momentum. But even then, unless it's like a bad knockout, if he just loses, I want to see this fight either way. Like, two prospects in the division, these guys have beef, they've been talking shit, they have a common opponent where Hockett dominated him, Asplin lost him, and Denzel Freeman. I think this makes sense. You push up these two heavyweights. It might be a finish. It could be a finish. Probably will be a finish. This will be a fun fight and a fun ass build up. I think Josh Hockett will be on this card either way. Just say he's a Colby fucking variant. Also, another heavyweight, Gable Steveson. I could see him making his debut. I know he's fighting in like February or March, some in Mexico for something. But yeah, I think this will be a perfect introduction for him in the UFC's eyes. American under John Jones, and you know, he's a good prospect in the heavyweight division. They need it. You push him up here, put him on the biggest stage and the biggest card you'll ever have, and introduce him to the UFC, introduce him to the fans now. And you see this, get a new prospect going. I don't know who he'd fight, but I think I could see his debut on here. Now some other fights, Terrence McKinney versus Mike Davis. Maybe Terrence McKinney versus someone of a bigger name, but I think it's going to be a really fun fight in the lightweight division. Mike Davis has some good fights. He's good. He's a good all-around fighter. Terrence McKinney, we obviously know, is kill or be killed with him. Live by the sword, die by the sword. He's always going to get finished or finish. It's in, like, we saw with Chris Duncan. We saw with Vyacheslav Borslev. Is just relentless, and he's gonna get it's gonna be a finish. It's gonna be a fun fight. It's gonna be a scrap. It's gonna be a war. It's gonna be a finish. And I think with Mike Davis could finish him. He could finish Mike Davis one way or another. It could be on the ground. It could be fun on the feet. It could be fun. So I think it makes sense. Mike Davis isn't the biggest name, but could be a fun fight as well. If they want some, maybe if they do a little more than 6 or 7 fights, these next ones could be on there. Jalen Turner versus Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan probably deserves a higher ranked opponent, maybe someone right outside the rankings. But I think Jalen Turner's right there. Just knocked out Edson Barboza easy. Obviously, before that, the loss to Ignacio Bahamondes, where he just stuffed his head in the triangle and was like, yeah, but again, a fun fight. Could see a finish. It's going to be fun on the feet, on the ground. We could see a Jalen Turner early finish because Chris Duncan takes a little while. We could see a war. Chris Duncan is very durable. We've seen that with his fight with Rumbecki and Terrence McKinney recently, who we just talked about. Jalen Turner looked good against Edson Barboza. Little hittable, but very fun. They've shown good all-around game. Knockouts, finishes. I think it's going to be a very, very fun fight as well. War, scrap, and then kind of push Chris Duncan a little more as an international star or push Jalen Turner more into that audience as well. And lastly, maybe Alex Perez versus Tim Elliott. Two Americans, contender matchup. I think Tim Elliott called it out. Kind of makes sense rankings-wise, if I remember the rankings correctly. This could be a scrap as well. Could be a knockout, could be a submission. This could be very fun as well. I think if they need more fights, if they add more fights into it, or they need some extras to pull in, the last second, I think they could do one of these. Maybe they fight a little earlier than the White House, but I could see it as well on here. So those are all my picks for it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Who you want to see on this card, who do you think is going to be on this card, and I'll see you in the next one, baby.